Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. If you are new here, hi, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for being with me here today. So in this video, we are going to be discussing the exciting upcoming transit, mainly of Uranus entering the sign of Gemini, but I am also going to talk about Venus moving into Gemini as well. We've got a double whammy. We're doing this together because why not? They're both moving into the sign. So we're going to talk a little bit about the energies and what this could mean in general, and then we are going to go through the zodiac signs so you can have an understanding of how these planetary ingresses are going to affect you personally. Now, before we get into the video, I do personal readings. If you would like your chart read, I do a variety of readings for a variety of budgets. You can take a look at the information on my website, which is linked, or you can drop me an email. And if you do get value from this, please give the video a thumbs up and drop a comment, as that helps the algorithm push the video out. So I really appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content from me. I'm a Western astrologer, guys. I use the tropical zodiac and I do work in whole sign houses. If you work with a different house system, you can still listen to this video. You just may need to adjust and watch for more than one rising sign. So, some exciting things coming up. There's actually a lot of astrology happening in July. Unfortunately, I don't have all the time to do individual videos for all the different things going on. But this is really important, Uranus entering Gemini. So I wanted to make sure that I had time to do this video for you guys. And I thought I'd just throw Venus in there as well, as this is also kind of a fun transit. So Venus entering Gemini, or let me just shift this back to the days. So Venus enters Gemini on the 3rd of July. Venus is this little symbol here. Now, Venus moves fairly quickly, so she's basically going to be in Gemini for the rest of the month until the 30th. And this is going to bring an energy shift and a change when it comes to our relationships. So Venus is the planet associated with relationships. It's how we're connecting with other people. We can experience themes in our romantic relationships, but we can also experience these themes in our friendships, the people that we spend time with. And it's all of our social interactions. So just kind of remember that Venus rules all of our social interactions. It's how we're connecting with the other. It's us and the other person when it comes to Venus. Venus also rules our aesthetic, our style, our beauty, our values, our self-worth and our self-esteem, and also our money. So when she changes signs, it's just kind of a subtle energy shift, and it shifts our interests, because Venus also rules creativity and the things that we enjoy. So when she changes signs, we can just notice this subtle shift in what it is that we're kind of focusing on and paying attention to. And you will feel this quite strongly if you have Libra or Taurus placements, because Venus rules those signs. Venus is your chart ruler, or your sun ruler, or your moon ruler. If you have your sun, your moon, or your rising sign in Taurus or Venus, you will feel this more than others, okay? Venus shifting into Gemini will also feel a little bit more kind of prominent for the mutable signs. So that is Gemini, Pisces, Virgo and Sagittarius. You'll feel it a little bit more prominently because it will be in an angular house of yours, and it will be squaring or opposing your natal planets. So it just can feel a little bit more relevant as Venus makes her transit. Now, Gemini is the sign of connection. It's the sign of communication, and it rules our mind and our intellect and our thinking. It is connected to our siblings, short distance travel and trips, and it's really the sign associated with curiosity. So Gemini is a mutable air sign. It likes change. So Venus moving into Gemini is going to have our interests more kind of spread out. We're going to be interested in doing different things. We're going to be interested and curious about different topics. So it could be that you find yourself wanting to learn new things, or maybe you're starting a new book, or maybe you're starting several books at the same time, because Gemini is a dual sign. So there can often be two. So it could be that you started one book and now you're going to start another one at the same time, and maybe that's something that you wouldn't normally do. But Venus entering Gemini, you might have an interest to take on more information. But it's quite shallow. It's not like really deep. It's like, oh, I'm going to read this magazine page, or I'm just going to flick through the pictures. You're not going to be, studying things for hours, but there's just this interest in kind of taking on information. This can manifest as gossiping. So you may just find and notice that people are gossiping more, people are telling you stuff and saying, you know, did you hear this? Or I heard this. And you're just having that kind of chit chatter and banter more than you normally would. Gemini is a very playful sign. It's very childlike. It is the sign of like the joker, the jester. And so we could just find ourselves being, you know, having more banter, being more playful. So this is really, you know, a fun transit, I would say, especially within your, you know, romantic relationships. You might just find that you're playing around with your partner more, you're doing little tricks on each other, and it's just very light-hearted energy. It's a little bit scattered because Mercury is now is ruling this, okay? So it's a little bit more scattered, and because Mercury rules conversations, it can just mean that conversations are more relevant than they would normally be. So that's just something to note, that communication and being able to communicate with your partner how you feel and what's important to you, your values, may be more relevant with Venus entering Gemini. You can find that you're a bit bored, so it could be that you want to spice things up a bit in your relationship, you know, whatever that means to you guys. We won't go there, but if you feel like spicing things up, it's the Venus in Gemini, and you can just feel a little bit more, I don't want to say that you'll be bored with your partner, but you'll just have an interest to do different things. So it might be that you think, oh, let's go bowling, let's go to the cinema, let's go, just things that you wouldn't usually care about doing. You may just find that you've got an interest in doing them more. Trips to like the supermarket and the local shop, you're going to find yourself having those conversations with, you know, the shop workers or the people in the checkout queue, and you're just going to feel a bit more sociable than you usually would. So I think Venus in Gemini is quite a fun and just a nice energy. But like I said, communication is going to be more important, and it's a little bit more scattered and erratic. But curiosity is the main word for this. So doing different things and just fulfilling that need for variety. Variety is the spice of life when it comes to the sign of Gemini. So Venus moving here, you may just notice that in your lives. Same with money. It could be that you are thinking more about, like I said, your values, but also thinking more about your finances, or wanting to organize, or just kind of get them in order. That can often happen with Gemini. Gemini is like connected to spreadsheets and you know, maybe writing notes or journaling. So it could be that you're wanting to write down how much you want to earn, or you know, you're writing down your bills and trying to kind of organize your finances in some way. You just may find that that's a little bit more relevant. Venus being creativity in the sign of Gemini. If you're somebody that works online, or you work on, you know, in writing or media, you're going to feel more creative. You're going to feel like doing more, you know, blogs or Instagram posts or that kind of stuff, where you're creating through writing and also through communication. So you just may notice that that's a little bit more of a theme as well. What else do I want to say about that? That's kind of the main thing, just kind of noticing that there's more of an interest in learning, communicating, and it being a little bit more of a light-hearted energy. Now, obviously when we move on to the signs, I will talk about Venus in the signs, but now we're going to talk about Uranus, because this is a really, really important transit, because Uranus is an outer planet and it stays in a sign for around 8 years. Okay, so Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018. Now, this isn't the full ingress, this is just the starter, because Uranus is going to move into Gemini for a few months. It's going to go retrograde later in the year, and then in November it's going to retrograde back into Taurus until April next year. So next year will be the full ingress, but over the summer we are getting a taster of what this is. And it's kind of exciting because Uranus has been in Taurus, like I said, since 2018. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Excuse me. Uranus likes to shake things up. It's the awakener. And it can't do that very comfortably in Taurus, because Taurus doesn't like change. Whereas Gemini is a mutable air sign. Uranus is connected to Aquarius, which is also an air sign. So Uranus moving into an air sign can really operate in the way that it wants to. It can really do its shake up, it can do its breakthrough, it can do its innovation in the way that it wants to. So just talking about Uranus and what it's connected to. So it is the planet of rebellion. It's the planet of change, shaking things up. So you can think of a snow globe, you can think of like a music rattle, but just anything that is in a certain way right now will not be the same after this Uranus and Gemini transit, because Uranus wants change. It wants you to break free from your normal whatever you're doing. And if we don't have change, then we kind of stay the same. So it helps us grow. It's a disruptor. Uranus is neutral, so it can be good change or it can be bad change. It's ups and downs. So as soon as something bad happens, something good might happen, okay? It's neutral. It's not just loads of bad stuff changing. It can be really, really good stuff. Uranus is the planet of the future, and it wants us to think outside the box. It wants us to think ahead. It is the black sheep of the family. It's doing things differently. It's rebellion. It is non-conforming. Anything that is normal, anything that is following the crowd, Uranus is opposite of that. It's being eccentric. It's actually a very, very creative planet. And I think if you know any Aquarians in your life, Aquarius is actually a very creative sign. I think it's one of the most creative signs. Doesn't seem to get as much of a reputation for being creative as, for example, what Leo might, or Pisces, but Aquarius is very, very creative, and it's because of that link to Uranus of thinking outside the box and not caring what other people think and not conforming to the norm, and then coming up with these brilliant ideas. Uranus is the planet connected to being a genius, to genius ideas, to these light bulb moments. And when we think about the fact that Uranus rules electricity, and you think of like a light bulb, it's a light bulb moment. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, and when we think that Mercury rules our technology and our thoughts, Uranus is also connected to technology, but it's of the higher realm. It's of the breakthroughs. It's the scientific breakthroughs when it comes to technology and digital, electric and digital, things like that. It's the breakthroughs when it comes to technology. It's the breakthroughs when it comes to thinking. It's the higher mind. It is thinking outside the box. It's like I said, it's that flash of genius insight. It's like Mensa. It is Albert Einstein, you know, that kind of vibe. It's like, wow, where did I get that idea from? And it's flashes of insight. And again, it's flashes. Think of electricity. And just going back a little bit, when we think about Uranus being the first planet that was discovered with a telescope, so before Uranus was discovered, you know, all of the other planets up until Saturn were known about and from ancient times, Babylonian times. All of the planets were seen, all of the planets were known. When Uranus was discovered in the 1700s, it was like this huge breakthrough, like, wow, we found another planet. And so don't you think it's funny that Uranus then also represents breakthroughs and change and innovation? And I just find that so amazing that is the connection, and that's what it represents. And that's exactly what it was when it was discovered in the 1700s. And so I'm not actually going to go at all into mundane astrology, because that's not really what I do. If you've watched my channel before, you know that mainly I just like you guys to know what's happening with you on the planets. That's my passion, you understanding how it's going to affect you. I'm not a historian. I don't claim to be an historian, and I actually don't really like history. So it wouldn't be very authentic for me to be diving into history. It just wouldn't be authentic. But you can go and research the history connected to Uranus in Gemini, and it will tell you everything that you need to know. Of course, when it was discovered, we had the American Revolution, and all these sorts of things that you'll read about on the internet. And I'm not going to go into, I'm not even going to say the word that Uranus is connected to in the sign of Gemini, but you can go and research that yourself. Now, what I will say is that Uranus moving into Gemini actually creates a trine with Pluto and a sextile with Saturn and Neptune. So historically, this transit is different to previous transits of Uranus and Gemini, because Uranus and Gemini is actually being supported by all of the other outer planets. So this is really, really powerful. And I think it's going to be different to what it's been in the past. Now, do I want to say anything else about the planet itself? So yes, it's breakthroughs, it's shake-ups, it's revolution, it is bright ideas, and it is change, and it's where we like to rebel. So those are kind of the main themes associated with Uranus: change, shake-ups. So then we want to think about Gemini as a sign. Okay, Gemini is, like I said, a mutable air sign. It's connected to travel. So when you think travel, you've got to think vehicles, cars, trains, buses, local travel. It's our roads, it's how we get around. Gemini is our neighborhood, our neighbors, our communities, the people closest to us, so our siblings, our cousins, our connected relatives. It is how we communicate. It is our social connections, our social group. Like I said, it's when you're going into the grocery store and you're standing in the queue at the checkout and all those social interactions you have. Gemini rules that. Gemini rules the hands. Gemini rules the mind. It's our thinking and our intellect because it's connected to learning and education. This is our early education. This is our schools. This is our any kind of information we're taking on. So then we think about the connection to media, our newspapers, our social media, what we're reading, what we're learning. It's books, it's writing, it's blogging, and it's our thought processes. Okay, so you can say that this has connection to like your mindset in a way. So that's kind of important to remember. What else is Gemini connected to? So Gemini also rules the lungs. So this is breathing techniques. This is breath work. This is even things like vaping and stuff. I think we're going to see something happen here because of the connection to the lungs. This is our teachers. So this is obviously our education system, and you've got to think about our actual teachers are a part of that. And I've already mentioned travel. So I have got a list because I don't want to miss anything out today. So those are kind of the general themes of Gemini. So Uranus moving into this sign is going to change and revolutionize and modernize, and we're going to see breakthroughs and breakdowns of all of these things over the next 8 years. So, and Uranus is going to be able to do this quite easily because Gemini is welcoming. Being a mutual air sign, it's welcoming to change. It loves change. Uranus is going to thrive on this. So, changes to travel. There can be so when we think about Uranus, we want to think about disruptions and so disruptions and changes. I guess it's the kind of the same thing, but also breakthroughs and innovations to travel. So, is this going to look like new and innovative ways to get around? So maybe they're going to be upgrading the travel system, upgrading the trains, upgrading the buses, upgrading the travel system. And what you've got to think about with the trine to Pluto in Aquarius, this is directly connecting transformation around technology, because Aquarius obviously is ruled by Uranus. So the themes I've mentioned about Uranus are similar to Aquarius. So you've got this double whammy here of Uranus moving into the sign that is connected to the things I'm mentioning, but also connected to Pluto, which is transforming the sign that it rules. I haven't explained that bit very well, but you know what I mean. So we're being supported here by Pluto and Aquarius. This is huge breakthroughs. This is innovation, being supported. So changes to travel. So it could be that train systems could be changing, hopefully for the better, especially, I know a lot of you aren't in the UK, but in the UK, our train system is horrendous. Like, we need an upgrade. So I'm hoping that this is going to be, maybe the government take back the train system and therefore prices change and we can actually start using this and using our cars less. And obviously that's going to have a monumental effect on the environment. And so social causes, Pluto in Aquarius, that kind of stuff might happen. Technological upgrades. So obviously as a society, we're already quite modernized here, but there's just going to be breakthroughs here, breakthroughs in technology when we're traveling around. And yes, there could be an increase in electric vehicles. Obviously we're seeing that anyway, but there can be like a real breakthrough here, or a breakdown. It could be that actually there's some sort of change in this. I don't know enough about electric vehicles and how they work and how much energy is needed to supply, but there could be a change here because Uranus is going to there's either going to be a breakthrough where we're all forced towards electric by the end of this transit 2033, or there's going to be a breakdown in it in some way, and something's going to change and something's going to be disrupted here. Uranus obviously rules aeroplanes, and it's trining Pluto, so there could be a breakthrough in air travel. That's also possible as well, but we've got to remember these are air signs. Anything to do with air, hot air balloons, aeroplanes, anything flying, so drones and stuff, some sort of breakthrough or change with drones and rules around drones, and communicating through the use of drones can definitely show up, because obviously Gemini is how we communicate, so there could be a breakthrough here. So that's kind of like the travel-y stuff. School systems. I think there's going to be a huge increase in, and we're seeing it already, homeschooling, online learning, people being able to learn at home, maybe. There's just going to be a change in the way that we learn the school systems, and it could be, you know, technological changes. I know schools already use smart boards and things like this, and a lot of iPads and stuff now anyway, but this is just going to be increased even more, or there's going to be a breakdown in some of the current systems in order for something better to take its place. But again, with the trine to Pluto, is this going to be huge? More stuff with AI. We're seeing the AI stuff crazy since Pluto's got into Aquarius, Chat GPT and all that. It's gone mad. This is going to be even more. It's going to be, you can't imagine how much more it's going to be. Well, I can't, but there's something's going to happen. Even more like madness with AI. It's going to be out of control. Now, Gemini is obviously, it's associated with media. So maybe, maybe we won't see newspapers anymore. Maybe newspapers will be completely gone and everything will be online. Who knows? But media, the newspapers, the media, there's going to be changes. There's going to be breakthroughs with how they're allowed to communicate with us. There can be maybe something there could be like some sort of revolution around the tabloids, like, you know, maybe some with Pluto trining Aquarius, which is all about the people, maybe a change in how they are allowed to communicate with us, how they're allowed to do what they do to celebrities, and what's the word I'm thinking of when they exploit celebrities, all of that kind of stuff. There could be some changes here in how they're allowed to share information with us. Social media, huge changes to social media. So it could be certain apps are gone, certain apps are never, forever, you know, finished. Hopefully not YouTube. Please don't get rid of YouTube. But there's going to be some changes. There can be a brand new app coming in, or something that becomes really, really popular. Maybe more things like Substack could get really big, for example, or Patreon, or anything that is involving more reading and writing potentially could have a breakthrough. People are consuming more and more and more anyway, but Uranus and Gemini, it's going to be even more, because Gemini is an air sign that rules our mind. Now, because Uranus is moving into Gemini and Gemini rules our mind, that, you know, a lot of flashes of insight and people having these light bulb moments, and, you know, inventions can definitely come from this. So inventions, technological inventions, especially with the trine to Pluto, people thinking of, you know, genius is coming out of the woodwork and saying, I've invented this and this and this. We're just going to see more of that. Gemini rules our siblings, so our connection and our cousins and our relatives. So collectively, this is going to be kind of changes with how we connect with the people that are closest to us, changes within our neighborhood, and how we connect with our neighbors. And that's kind of like a general theme, but disruptions with neighbours, disruptions within neighbourhoods, maybe neighbourhoods becoming more connected. Obviously, for example, like Neighbourhood Watch, something like that, but becoming bigger in some way. Then just how we communicate with each other, breakthroughs here. So, for example, if you think about, you know, people do voice notes. People do voice notes a lot, don't they, on WhatsApp, things like that. So, like, more things coming out in and how we can connect to each other. So whether it's going to be like 3-way calling, 4-way calling, group chat. I mean, you can do that on WhatsApp anyway, like in the group chat, but there's going to be maybe just more. Everything that we already know in terms of connecting, communicating via technology, there's going to be more of it. It's kind of hard to imagine how much more advanced it could be, but this is what Uranus is going to do. It's going to shake it up, and it's going to bring changes. Obviously, I mentioned about more homeschooling, changes in the education system. Breathwork is going to become really, really big, and I really feel this. I think this is already becoming very popular. The rise of the importance of breathwork and how it can benefit our health, especially with the trine to Pluto. Again, it's the transformation and advocating for the collective and the group. So groups of people getting together, doing breathwork sessions, working with the lungs in order to benefit our health. And Uranus is going to help us have these breakthroughs when it's connected to breath work and breathing exercises. And we could even see this coming into hospitals or being recommended by doctors, that kind of thing. Gemini is connected to you know, our institutes around the town. So, you know, your doctor, your library, your post office. There could be some changes to the post office and to letters and stamps and things like that. How we can, you know, sending letters. There could be some monumental changes to the postal system. But again, going back to because doctors' appointments comes under Gemini. It's like the third house stuff of connecting, making appointments. So big changes in how you make appointments with your doctor. More technology coming, you know, having to do it online rather than on the phone. All of that kind of stuff. And actually, maybe even being recommended breath work by your doctor as a health benefit. Things like that could possibly happen. And again, going back to the vape thing, maybe a complete ban on smoking, maybe a complete ban on vapes, something like that, because Gemini is connected to the lungs. I'm interested to see. Gemini rules the hands. So again, is this going to be breakthroughs when it comes to, you know, more people doing Reiki and working with the hands? What other jobs work with the hands? Thinking like hairdressers, barbers, some changes in those types of services that work with the hands are going to be more upgraded. You know, maybe we'll start seeing robots cutting hair. Robots cutting hair. You heard it here first. I saw a video the other day of a robot doing eyelashes. I would not want a robot to do my eyelashes, but I saw a video of it. I think it was real. At this point, who knows what's real, but I'm pretty sure it was real. So we might see more of that. Uranus is inventions. Gemini is like appointments and working with the hands. So yeah, we might just see more of that, and it'll be interesting when we do. So kind of in a nutshell, and just kind of to summarize that before we go into the signs, this is huge changes when it comes to how we connect, how we communicate, our neighborhoods, our learning, our mind, how we think is all going to change. Now, it's important to be aware that with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, Uranus is also going to sextile these, by the way. So Uranus is being supported by Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So this is about new ideas, changes, breakthroughs, putting our ideas into action and having a solid plan, putting our dreams into action and having a solid plan. So Uranus is coming up with the idea and the breakthrough. Saturn and Neptune are supporting this. Pluto's trining this. So all of these new things that are coming are being supported by the outer planets. But my point is, this is air, this is fire, this is air. We haven't got any outer planets now in earth or water. So there's not much to ground us. So there's like, things are being quick, things are going wild. This is fires, this is earthquakes. Uranus also rules earthquakes, natural disasters, those kind of things. There's going to be more of it, especially involving wind, air, storms, fire, hurricanes, wildfires, all of that. We are unfortunately going to see more of that. But my original point to that was, we are going to need to be learning to ground ourselves, okay? Because there's going to be all this air. We might feel more frantic and anxious just collectively. If that is you, make sure you are meditating, make sure you are doing the breath work, make sure you're touching grass, you are connecting with water, you are connecting with the earth, you are going for walks in nature, you are coming away from your phone. That Uranus in Gemini, we are going to be more and more and more connected to our phones. And this is going to make us more and more and more anxious. So it's going to be really important that we are spending time grounding ourselves, going for a swim, hugging trees. Call me a hippie all you want, guys. Hugging trees has actually been scientifically proven to release endorphins. I can't remember whether it's endorphins or which happy hormone it is, but it releases something. I don't know if it's serotonin, oxytocin, one of them. It releases it. So go and hug some trees, ground yourself, leave your phone at home, because we're just going to need that little bit of grounding during this transit over the next 8 years. But obviously this is just a taster over the summer, so I don't know, it's exciting, but it's also like, there's a lot of change. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, that all being said, I am going to move into the signs. So your rising sign is going to be the most accurate, because this is quite literally the house that it's moving through. But it will be really relevant if you listen to your sun and also listen to your moon as well, as this can manifest on an emotional level. The moon sign can manifest on an emotional level or on a level connected to home topics. So listen to all three so that you've got a complete picture. Rising sign being the most accurate. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on these transits, guys. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you're excited about. Don't forget I do readings as well. And if you're worried about these transits, just want to say quickly, then please try not to let outside influence worry you. I know there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment. Online connected to Uranus entering Gemini and people saying, oh, there's going to be a WAR. I just don't find that helpful as an astrologer. I just don't find it very helpful to start saying that, especially as there obviously has been a lot of tension. That's just me. I'm like I said before, I'm not a historian, so it would be silly for me to sit here and say, oh yeah, there's definitely going to be this. I don't find that very helpful for you guys watching, because I just think it's scaremongering, and we can't say what's definitely going to happen. And what we can say is that Uranus is having, these planets are supporting each other. Yes, there's going to be change, but it doesn't necessarily have to be really scary. So I'm not going to be the person to tell you that there's going to be a full-blown world war, WAR 3. Yeah, so try not to let things make you anxious, because things haven't happened yet and we can't say for sure what's going to happen until it happens. So we're going to move into the signs now, starting with Aries and moving around to Pisces. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got this far with the intro, we are half an hour in. So yeah, you can skip to your signs, and I will see you all in the next video. Aries and Aries rising. So Venus is going to move into your sign, in the sign of Gemini, so into your third house for the month of July. So Venus, I'm going to talk about Venus and then I'll talk about Uranus afterwards. So Venus in the sign of Gemini in your third house. Venus is going to bring you blessings, and it's going to turn your energy and your interest towards those themes around that we've been speaking a lot about: connection, communication, your siblings. You could find your relationships with siblings, cousins, close relatives are better during this transit. You may find that you're getting on better with your neighbors, you're having those fun interactions and those conversations, you're communicating more with your partner because Venus rules your seventh house. So you're just communicating better with your partner, and you are just having those more fun social interactions when you're kind of going on your errands, that kind of stuff. You could have more of an interest in learning, in reading, you might be going on a local trip. You could be spending money on traveling, spending money on you might going to a museum, or you're going to the cinema, that kind of stuff, where you're watching or doing something fun within the local community. Now, Uranus moving into Gemini in your third house is really going to shake things up for you when it comes to your mind. So for you guys, it is going to be important that you do what I said in the intro around the grounding, okay? Because this is your third house of your mind. This is your mindset. This is how you're thinking. So especially when Uranus first moves in, because it's a fresh energy, it can feel a bit like, oh. So on the one hand, it can be that you are suddenly breaking free from your current thought patterns, and you're having this urge to break out of your current beliefs and mindset in some way. It could be that you're feeling a little bit anxious and a little bit erratic. So like I said, just make sure that you're doing the breath work and you're doing the things to ground you. But for a lot of you, it's like you are wanting to challenge the status quo. You're wanting to learn something different. You could suddenly decide that you want to learn something, you want to study something, you want to start reading something really, really random that you wouldn't usually read about, or you're thinking in a different way. You're thinking in a forward motion where you're thinking outside the box. You're thinking ahead of the future. Aries don't typically think about the future much, but maybe this transit is going to get you thinking about your future more. Maybe you are feeling called towards changing your local neighborhood. You could feel like, right, I want to leave this neighborhood, I want to move somewhere else. Uranus rules it has a connection to Aquarius, which is your 11th house of your goals for the future. Thinking about the future. Where do I want to live? What neighborhood do I want to be a part of? And there can be some changes here. There can also be some changes to your travel. So like if you have a car, some changes to that. Maybe you need to get a new car. Maybe you just disruptions when it comes to traveling. If you get the bus, if you get the train, if you're walking, there's going to be some disruptions here. Over the next 8 years, you're going to see these kind of happening at different times. This isn't going to be every day. This is going to be kind of over the next 8 years, you're going to start to see some disruptions in how you travel. It could be that you decide to learn to drive. Maybe you have never had a desire to learn to drive up until now, and then there's just a need to learn to drive because you want to have freedom in how you get around. So you can have this calling of, right, now I'm ready to learn to drive. Or it can be changes to your car, changes to your vehicle, changes to your route, kind of your daily schedules and routines, or your daily kind of like, this is like how you go, like your route to work. So changes in that, maybe a road shut, or maybe, you have to go a different way, whatever, that kind of stuff. Third house is also your siblings and your relatives. So there can be some changes to your siblings' lives or a relative's life, like something happening, a sibling suddenly having a spiritual awakening, or a sibling having a drastic change in their life. Maybe they're moving, maybe they're getting married, maybe they're having a baby. Just changes in the lives of the people close to you, changes to your neighbors, changes to your neighborhood. Maybe, there's disruptions around your local neighborhood. Maybe they're fixing things and putting up traffic lights, all this kind of stuff which disrupts. You're going to notice these things at some point over the next 8 years. But mainly this is how you communicate, changes to how you communicate. Maybe you're having, deciding that actually you're going to really start working on your communication skills. So ultimately, this is going to be a big change around how you communicate, how you get around, and your thought processes. but it is being supported by the outer planets. So it's being supported by Saturn in your first house. So you're making changes to who you are and how you think and how you get around, and being supported by your goals for the future with Pluto in Aquarius. So let me know your thoughts on this transit, Aries, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Taurus and Taurus rising, you guys are having Venus, first of all, moving into Gemini in your second house over the month of Gemini, over the month of July. So Venus in Gemini in your second house, you are going to be more curious around money. You're going to be thinking of new ways to make money, and maybe money is coming to you from a variety of sources, which is obviously really great. Venus rules you, so this is important. This is an important transit for you, and it also rules your sixth house of your work and your routines and your health. So it could be that your values around your health are changing. You're thinking more about what you do for self-care and actually what you're putting into your body, and that could be important in some way. It could be that your schedules for work are changing and you're earning money from the work that you're doing. Maybe a new job opportunity is coming for you, or a new way to make money can be possible. Mainly this is like financial, and Venus coming in here is like, okay, here you go, here's the money for the work that you've done. You're focusing on your self-worth, and actually during this transit, because Venus is happy in the second house, you can actually feel a bit more confident in your skills during this time. And you can even be developing new skills in some way. You could be learning or developing your skills, and that's going to add to your value and add to your self-worth. Now, Uranus coming into this sign over the course of the next 8 years is going to really shake things up when it comes to the way that you make money, the things that you value, and how you feel about yourself. Your self-esteem, your self-worth can see some ups and downs. So you may have moments where you're feeling good, you may have moments where you're feeling confident, and then you have moments where you're not feeling so good. Because Uranus rules your 10th house, Aquarius, it's directly suggesting that the way that you make money from your career is going to be up and down, is going to change. It could be a career change, especially with Pluto here. It's like transformations around your career. So maybe there's a new innovative way to make money. You could be making money online. You can be making money from, because it's Gemini, from connection, from podcasts, from social media, from local connections, and getting out into the community. You could be making money from community matters and building connections with other people. This could also be things like crypto, or technological advancements when it comes to making money, investments, that kind of stuff. You could desire some sort of freedom when it comes to your finances. You could just feel called towards not wanting to be tied down to a certain income and just wanting to make a change when it comes to your money. You could, because Uranus is where we feel that we want to rebel, where we feel that we want to break free. So maybe you're wanting to break free from the need to earn all this money. You could be somebody that wants to just quit your job and go traveling, or something like that can happen. And there can be some shake-ups to your possessions and the things that you earn and the things that you own. Just some shake-ups and some changes. But mainly I think this is going to be about your financial situation and a different way of money coming in, or just wanting to, like I said, wanting to break free from how you currently earn money, and just feeling the need to have a bit of freedom there. There can also be breakthroughs as well. So it could be, if you've been struggling with money, now there's a breakthrough, and actually you're thinking, aha, light bulb moment, this is what I'm going to do. And actually you can have that bit of oomph. So that's obviously positive. Let me know, Taurus, what you think about this transit. What are your thoughts? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Gemini, Venus is moving through your sign this month, the month of July. So this is a really positive transit for you guys. Venus in the first house is going to make you more funny than you already are, more creative. It's going to give you a boost of confidence, and it's going to give you like this charm where people are just kind of magnetized to you with with Venus in your sign. It can feel that you just feel more pretty, like you're looking in the mirror and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm really extra pretty this month. Maybe your skin's better, maybe your hair's going well, that kind of stuff. It's a good transit to like change your style. So get a new wardrobe, have your hair cut. Venus in the first house is always a good transit to be able to do that. And just feel more beautiful, and also be able to build those connections. So you may feel, a bit more sociable with Venus in the first house. You might be that you are singing in the shower, you're having music on more than you normally would. I often find with planets moving through the first, we can feel, and this is just me personally, like we want to sing, we want to listen to music, we can just feel more creative in that sense. You want to express yourself more, and because Venus is, you know, a creative planet, it could be that you're wanting to express yourself creatively. You're having conversations. You can feel that, you know, maybe this is a time where you might attract a partner to you because Venus rules your 5th house. Venus also rules your 12th house, so you could be focusing on healing, focusing on meditation, focusing on how you look after your mind, Gemini, learning something new, studying something new, doing things for fun and for joy. So, you know, going on dates, going to different events with friends, you know, whether it be you're doing a paint and sip and brush paint thing, or whether you're doing, you know, you're going to a library club or whatever it is, you're doing more sociable things. And maybe you're focusing on your business, if you have a business, and earning money from business. Or there could be something to do with children here, tapping into inner child, feeling more playful. If you have children, it could be that you are connecting better with your children during this time. And if you don't have children, it could just be that you are connecting to your inner child and letting the fun inside of you come out. Just being more childish, and having more fun. Now, Uranus is going to come into your 1st house, and this is a major transit, okay? Being a Taurus myself, I've had Uranus in Taurus for the past however many years, so I can tell you, Uranus in your sign is going to revolutionize your entire identity in some way. You are going to change the person that you are is not going to be the same after this transit is over. And that's not anything to be afraid of. It's invigorating, it's exciting. Your entire identity can change. Now, it might be that you have an entire change of your belief systems, because Uranus rules Aquarius, your 9th house. You could have a complete turnover of your belief systems. You could move countries. You could change your entire appearance. You could have all your hair chopped off. You can have a baby. You can get pregnant. You can get married. Your entire identity can change with Uranus in the 1st house. You can get divorced. You can start studying astrology. This is what happened to me with Uranus and Taurus. I became an astrologer. Uranus rules astrology. So you could quite literally become an astrologer, or just have a sudden overwhelming need to invent something, or break free from whatever's not working in your life. You're going to run away from it. You're going to want freedom. You're going to want to break free. If somebody's holding you back, you're gone. If someone's treating you bad, you're gone. Like, this is the rebellion. This is you are in your rebellion phase. So whatever is holding you back, you're not going to stick to it, whether it's a job, whether it's a person, whether it's a location. You are going to want to free yourself from the shackles of whatever is holding you down. You can gain huge wisdom and insights, and just have these flashes of insight and genius moments, and just really feel yourself changing with this transit. Physical body changes are really possible. Watch out for your health, I would say, as well, because there can be some changes to your health, because this is connected to your physical body. You can feel more anxious and erratic. So again, you're one of the signs. We know that you guys are probably not all of you, but a lot of you suffer with that anxiousness anyway. You need to ground yourself. You need to meditate. You need to do breath work. Do breath work. Go hug a tree. Ground yourself, because this is kind of can make you a little bit erratic energy. It's not going to be all the time, but this is, you know, an 8-year transit mostly. A friend of mine who's a Gemini has actually just mentioned that they're going to be having an operation to change, because they've been so ill. And so this is going to be liberating for them. This operation is going to be liberating. So it's things like that, where connected to the body, something might need changing, something might need doing in order for you to be free. So that's, you know, great. Good for you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this transit, Gemini. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cancer and Cancer rising. Uranus is going to be moving into your... Oh no, we'll talk about Venus first, sorry. Venus is going to be transiting your 12th house through the month of July. So this is turning your energy inward. This is more of an internal, sacred, secret kind of transit. Venus through the 12th is taking your love behind the scenes. So it could be that you're having... romantic experiences behind the scenes. Maybe you and a partner are traveling somewhere far away. You're going on holiday with a partner. That's possible. Maybe you're going on holiday with a friend. Maybe you're going on holiday with a family member, or somebody that you live with, because Venus rules your 4th house. Or you're focusing on healing. You know, this is the house of meditation, breath work. It's Gemini, so it's breath work, it's meditation, it is spas, retreats, places of solitude. So this is spiritual churches. This can also be hospitals. So it could be that you're visiting a hospital connected to your goals for the future. Maybe if you, for example, if you're trying to have a baby, it could be that you're having to have hospital appointments. Things like that can come up. But you're healing something, you're letting something go, and you're actually enjoying solitude. You're enjoying going to those places. You're enjoying these spiritual practices, and you could be doing your own spiritual practices and connecting to your higher self more during this transit. Secret love affairs are possible. This is the house of our limiting beliefs and our self-undoing. So when Venus is moving here, she is subtly giving this a small blessing. Venus is still a positive planet, so she is subtly blessing us. So it could be that you're working on your limiting beliefs, especially when it comes to money, because Venus rules money. Maybe you're working on your money beliefs. Maybe you're really trying to heal those money blockers or something like that during this time. This is the house of dreams as well, so Venus transiting here can give you pleasant dreams. Now, interesting that then Uranus is going to move in, okay? And so this is going to be an 8-year transit, but obviously this year it's just going to be a few months. But Uranus transiting your 12th house is going to be shake-ups and change when it comes to your subconscious thoughts and your dreams. So you could have some very weird and wild and wacky dreams if you don't have them already. With Gemini on the 12th house, you could have kind of busy dreams anyway. As a Cancer rising, I can confirm that is true. But Uranus coming in here is going to make this even weirder. You're going to have weird dreams. You might be like astro traveling or having lucid dreams, or you might start sleepwalking. That's possible for some of you. There can be a breakthrough when it comes to your spirituality, and I'm really excited for this personally. A breakthrough when it comes to your connection to spirit, because Uranus rules your 8th house of psychic connection. 12th house is also a connection to our higher self. These are the psychic houses. So you may have a breakthrough here. You may really, really start to connect to your higher conscious, your higher self, your spirit guides, your ancestors. You are going to be having messages come to you. They might be coming to you in dreams. That it depends how much you work on this in your physical form. But let's just say you don't work on this. Let's just say you're not particularly into that spiritual stuff. Then this is mostly probably going to show up in crazy dreams, shifts in your subconscious that you might not really be aware of. And there can be patterns of self-sabotage, especially when it comes to technology. So this could be that you're scrolling on your phone, you're overthinking, you are having all of these erratic thoughts. So again, you are going to be one of the signs that needs to meditate, that needs to work on your mental health, because Uranus coming here can shake up your mental health. Okay, if you are somebody that's quite spiritual and you're tapped in, and you maybe you go to somebody that goes to sound bars, or you go to breathwork sessions, or you go to psychic groups, anything that you can connect with, especially now Pluto's in your 8th house. How can you connect to the more taboo topics of life? Because this is where you can work with this energy, and where you're going to have breakthroughs here. Like I said, you may start seeing spirits. This is the opening of the third eye, is kind of like a roundabout way to say it. Your third eye is opening, and you're going to have breakthroughs here. Make sure, like I said, that you're grounding yourself, because it can be a bit erratic, and there can just be changes to your subconscious patterns. So if you've been stuck in a certain subconscious pattern, Uranus can come here and shake that up and change it, and you may have a breakthrough with your mental health, a breakthrough in a subconscious pattern. Now, the 8th house is also conception. 12th house is hospitals. So for some of you, there's going to be a relevance here between transformation, conception, crisis, healing, and hospitals, letting go, pain, healing something. And I know that sounds a bit cryptic and it sounds a bit scary, but the 8th house is death, it is loss, and the 12th house can be connected to pain. So over the next 8 years, and I don't like saying this, some of you may go through some sort of loss, or you may have a breakthrough when it comes to your own transformation, when it comes to conception, when it comes to something to do with hospitals, and you having to face a crisis. There's going to be a breakthrough here. Uranus is going to help you reach the places that you need to reach. And that's only going to be relevant for some of you. So, and I don't want to say that to scare some of you, but there's just going to be something here around potential for transforming, okay? Because the 8th house is your own transformation. You are going through something with Pluto here, and Uranus is now taking you in order to heal something and have a breakthrough here. It's going to look different for everyone. So let me know, Cancers, And also remember that Uranus is being supported here. It's supporting your career, it's supporting your transformation with these planets. So hopefully something more positive than not. Let me know, Cancer, your thoughts on this transit, and I'll see you in the next video. Leo, Venus is going to enter Gemini and spend July in your house of your friendships, your groups, your networking. This is your goals for the future. So Venus is bringing you blessings. It's quite a fun transit, Venus in the 11th house. You're going to be seeing your friends more. It can just be that you're meeting up with groups of friends, people that you haven't seen for a while, especially because Venus rules your third house of connection. So connecting, communicating. This is a great transit if you work online, because you're going to have more recognition and just be building those relationships a bit more easily. Could be that you're focusing on, developing new social media platforms, that kind of things, getting creative, that kind of stuff. The 11th house is the groups and the organizations that we're a part of. So it could be that you're fundraising for a charity event. You are, doing something for the collective, or having a more interest in doing something humanitarian or for the collective. If you work for a large organization, you're getting on better. This is opportunities for networking. You could find yourself networking at events, and just building good friendships, building good, strong friendships. I mean, it is Gemini, so this is kind of like shallow connections, but you are just going to be it's just going to give you a nice, friendly energy in order to connect with people. There's also your goals for the future. You could be focusing on your money goals for the future, or Venus is going to be helping you think about your goals and what it is that you want to work towards, especially your career goals. Maybe you're journaling, maybe you're writing down, your goals and what it is that you want to achieve. Now, Uranus is going to move into this house for a few months this year, and then permanently, for the next 8 years next year. So Uranus entering your 11th house is quite a good transit, actually, because Uranus is naturally connected to the 11th house. The 11th house is naturally Aquarius. So Uranus is very familiar with this house, and it means that you are going to have breakthroughs and changes and disruptions when it comes to your friendships, when it comes to your networks, when it comes to these groups that you socialize with, that you are a part of. It can be huge monumental changes in your friends' lives. So you may notice over the next 8 years that you have friends that move location, you have friends that have babies, you have friends that get married. You can just see a lot of friends having changes in their lives. Maybe friends are going through something quite hard and you're witnessing it. There's just changes in your friends' lives with Uranus in the 11th house, disruptions, and you're witnessing it. You can fall out with friends, you can make new friends. This is a good transit for networking, connecting through technology to people. Maybe you're the one that moves away and you're having to have Zoom calls with your friends. That kind of stuff is possible. If you do work for like a large organization, then there's going to be changes here, disruptions here. There's connection to technology and technological advancements within the group setting that you're a part of. Again, it could be that you are fundraising or having an interest in humanitarian work. Uranus rules your 7th house of relationships. So this can have changes to your goals with you and a partner, or you and somebody important in your life. So again, this could be like a best friend. Maybe you and somebody are joining a new organization. Maybe you and a partner are joining a big organization. Maybe you are wanting to study something with a best friend or with a partner. But the 11th house is our goals and our aspirations. So changes to your goals, especially when it comes to you and your partner, you and a business partner, your best friend. Your goals are changing, your aspirations are changing. You can suddenly decide that the goals that you once were striving for have completely changed. Could be that actually with Pluto in your 7th house, you don't want to be with your partner anymore, and so you are breaking up and your goals have changed. You used to want a big house, 2.4 children in a Land Rover, and now you don't want any of that. And so there can be this huge disruption with your goals and what it is that you're working towards. And that's okay if that is the case, by the way. What else do I want to say about that? This is also the 2nd house from your if you own your own business, 2nd house from that. So there can be some changes to money. This house is connected to money and your manifestation. So either some breakthroughs with that, or some changes to your business and what it is that you're manifesting. So a little bit of instability there, but mainly it's going to be about your friendships and your goals and what you're working towards. So let me know, Leo, what's going on? What are you working towards? What are you networking around? Let me know your thoughts on this transit, and I'll see you in the next video. Virgo, you guys are having Venus enter Gemini, which is your 10th house for the month of July. Venus moving into your 10th house is going to bring you a more charming image publicly. So this could be that you are finding yourself posting on your social media more. It could be something simple as that. You're more in the limelight than you usually would be because you're feeling better. It could be that you're, for example, if you're going on holiday, you're posting loads because you're happy you're on holiday, and therefore you're just being more seen and recognized. You're being more seen and recognized as somebody that's beautiful, that's good looking, that's charming. There's more recognition here if you work online, if you work on social media, and this is a good transit for your career. So it's getting on better with your boss, getting on better with your colleagues, and just working on your money goals as well in some way, shape or form. Communicating better, wanting to mix things up at work possibly, but just having better conversations, better connections when it comes to your career. What else do I want to say about it? Because Venus rules your second house of money, so there could be a new opportunity to make money. For some of you, it could be a job opportunity, especially as Uranus is about to come in here. A job opportunity, a new way to make money is possible. Venus also rules your 9th house. So again, yes, some of you, this is definitely going to be that you're going on holiday and you're just posting yourself online and you're in the public eye more. When you have planets up in the 10th house, you're in the public eye more. But it's also your career. So getting on better with your boss, making good acquaintances, and actually building strong bonds with people at work can come from this transit. So just having, more pleasant conversations, more harmonious conversations, exchanging ideas in the workplace, and those ideas going well for the most part with Venus in the 10th house. If you're single, you could actually also meet somebody at work during this transit. You could meet a romantic partner at work. Now, Uranus is going to come into this house and into this sign. We're going to see it for a few months this year, and then the full ingress next year for the next 8 years. So over the next 8 years, you're going to see monumental shifts, changes, shake-ups when it comes to your career and your public role and identity out in the world. Uranus rules your 6th house of work. So for a lot of you, this really is going to be that you are changing your job role or you're changing career. So for some of you, you're going to have this strong desire to break free from what you're doing. You could want to quit your job, you could want to quit your day work, and what you're doing is going to feel mundane and boring. So if you're thinking, actually, I like my job, I don't want to quit it, you need to think of a way where you can have more freedom in what you do in order for this transit to be operating, because Uranus is going to change something about your working environment. It could be the route to work changes, your schedules change, the projects that you're working on change. Maybe you're using a new technology at work, maybe you're using AI more, or there's things changing in the office or in the working environment. There's change coming, there's shifts coming. For some of you, it will be a job change, you're leaving your job, or a desire for freedom. Now, Uranus is also going to shake things up when it comes to your identity, your public image. So this is, are you married? Are you single? Are you divorced? Are you a parent? All of these things can change with Uranus in the 10th house. Our role in society, our role in the world is changing. This is also the house of parents, so there can be some change to your parents, some shifts when it comes to your parents. So you may see some shifts at home, some shifts with the family, and just changes when it comes to your parents. Your parents either having changes in their lives, or just something might be going on when it comes to a parent, and things are being shaken up a little bit there as well. But mainly this is going to be career related and what you're building towards. So let me know, Virgo, your thoughts on this transit, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Libra, you are having Venus move into Gemini, which is your 9th house of beliefs, travel, higher education, higher learning, legal matters. So Venus is going to be here for the whole of July, and she's going to be bringing your interest towards higher education. Now, this is the house of astrology. It could be that you're becoming more interested in astrology than you usually would. Maybe you're having an astrological reading. Maybe you are studying something. Bearing in mind, Venus rules you. This is really important. It's taking your interest and the direction of your life over here. So you could be studying, you could be learning something, you could be focused on doing a course. Your enjoyment is coming from philosophy and religion and belief right now. You're focusing on your worldview. Maybe you're, reading books and just studying a bit more about spirituality, religion, philosophies. Your beliefs are shifting, and maybe you're thinking about how much you value your beliefs during this transit. Venus is our values and our self-worth. Maybe you're focusing on developing and learning more about your self-worth, and it could be coming, like I said, from an astrology reading, or just from the things that you're reading and the things that you're learning and teaching yourself. You could have more interest in teaching. You could have more interest in, especially because Venus rules your 8th house of psychology, so you could have more of an interest in sharing your knowledge about psychology during this time. You could be learning more about your own transformation and sharing it with the world. The 9th house is our publications. It's YouTube. It's what we publish. It's the information that we're putting out into the world. Whether that's writing, whether that's speaking like this, but you're sharing your knowledge, you're sharing private parts of yourself, possibly out in the world. This is also the house of travel. So for some of you, could be traveling. You could be, because this is joint finances, you could be sharing money with a partner and traveling, borrowing money so that you can travel, or you're just traveling. You are going to meet a partner when you travel, or you're enjoying new cultures, or you're going away with your partner. Venus is what we enjoy. So there's going to be a prominent interest here in traveling, in other cultures, in other languages. During this time. This is also the house of legal matters. So if that's relevant for some of you, legal matters in some way, Venus is going to help you out here. That's not always relevant for some, but still. You could also meet a teacher. You could meet somebody that's going to teach you something. This is the house of teachers and gurus, and Venus is our social connection. So having conversations with people that are going to teach you stuff is also possible during this time. Then you are going to have Uranus moving into this house for the next 8 years. So this year it's going to be for a few months, then he's going to move back out and transit back in. So 8 years. When this 8 years is over, your belief systems are going to be completely different to what they are now. Uranus is going to come in, it's going to completely shake up your belief systems. You could suddenly become a preacher of God. You could suddenly become somebody that is so spiritual. You could suddenly become somebody that is an astrologer. This is the transit where you may want to start studying astrology. Really, obviously, you're watching this video. Maybe you're taking it more seriously. Uranus rules your 5th house of fun and your business. Your business can be connected to teaching, learning. This is the house of philosophy. So again, you're learning about deeper philosophies of life. You're learning more and more, because it's Gemini, you're curious. You're learning more and more about, our worldview, our faith, our spirituality, and perhaps you're really feeling called to teach. This is also that Uranus is where we want to be free. So you could feel that you want to suddenly move abroad. You could feel that actually where you live, you're not happy here and you want to move abroad. Maybe you want to move abroad with a partner, or maybe you're moving abroad to be with a partner. There's just an element of your romance and your love life and abroad. So you actually fall in love. You could have a holiday romance. You could fall in love with somebody that is in another country during this transit. You could have unusual experiences when you are abroad. So when you're going abroad, you could have unusual experiences. You could have disruptive experiences. Now, my advice here would be always get travel insurance, okay? Tried and tested. Always get travel insurance. When you have planets moving through the 9th house like this, there's going to be disruptions. So it could be that you book a holiday and you can't go. It could be that when you're abroad, someone injures themselves and you have to make an insurance payout. Just make sure that you're always having travel insurance, because there can be disruptions. And it's not going to be every single time you go away. It will be something might be triggering this, or other things will be in the chart. But just know there's potential for disruptions when you're traveling with Uranus here. What else do I want to say about that? There's just going to be a huge fundamental change around your belief systems, your philosophies, breakthroughs when it comes to your belief systems, breakthroughs when it comes to your faith, breakthroughs when it comes to travel. And it's connected to your romance, it's connected to your business, and it's connected to what you're doing for fun in some way. So, exciting transit for you. This is a sign that trines you as well. Okay, so this is a trine, and it's actually giving you a grand trine, because Uranus is here. It will be trining you, and it's trining Pluto in your 5th house. So this is really quite positive, really. plus it's being supported from Saturn and Neptune in your 7th house. So yeah, a lot of kind of positive aspects here for you. I don't think I want to say any more about that, Libra. So let me know in the comments your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this transit? How can you see this playing out already? Can you see where this is going? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Scorpio and Scorpio rising. So you have got Venus moving into the sign of Gemini in your 8th house for the month of July. Okay, this is the house that you are familiar with. It's the house of our psychology. Is connected to mental health. This is a house of secrets, psychology, taboo topics. This is ghosts. This is divination. This is tarot. This is mediumship. This is also joint finances, and it's also the house of transformation, and it's death and rebirth. Death and rebirth cycles come under this house. It's how we transform. It's going from dark to light, back to dark, back to light. Venus moving through here is going to take your interest to this house. So often with this transit, we can just find we have more of an interest in occult topics. So you can find that you're wanting to have a tarot reading, wanting to do some divination, focusing on your crystals, you're going on a ghost hunt night, all of that kind of stuff. There's just more of an interest, especially because it's Gemini, in those occult topics. Maybe you're watching horror movies, you're watching true crime documentaries. There's more of an interest here with Venus moving through the sign. There can also be some secret love interests, or topics of intimacy can be relevant. Venus rules your 7th house of committed relationships and your 12th house of secrets. So there can be something to do with partnerships here, secret partnerships, or maybe you and your partner are just having a lot of intimate time during this transit, and you're just focusing on intimacy. You're focusing on, spending that quality time in the bedroom, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. So this can feel a bit challenging as well, because the 8th house is quite deep. So on the one hand, we can have an interest in our psychology, but on the other hand, we can just feel a bit obsessive when it comes to our relationships. We can just feel a bit obsessive and a bit anxious, Gemini, when it comes to our close romantic partners, if you have one. If you don't have one, you can be obsessing about the fact that you don't have one, that kind of stuff. This is also the house of joint finances. So this is a good transit for coming into some money, focusing on taxes, coming into investment money. Money from clients can come in. Money from your partner. So your partner is more likely to pay for stuff with this transit as well. Now, Uranus is moving into this section of your chart, and it's going to shake things up here. It's going to bring shake-ups when it comes to your psychology. Again, this is kind of your mental health, but this is also, our cycles of death and rebirth and what we're going through and how we're transforming. Uranus is shaking this up. Now, it does rule your 4th house of family, so there can be some family changes going on. Some emotional changes for you, Scorpio. Some disruptions when it comes to your family, and that's going to bring a huge transformation for you, and it can have connection to your money. Okay, so it could be that you can't afford where you live anymore and you're having to move house, or you're having to borrow some money. You're having a breakthrough with loans and spending, and maybe you're having to borrow some money because of you can't afford your home, or you want to move anyway, and therefore you're having to borrow some money. If you have investments, there can be changes here, so it's not a very stable energy for investing, I wouldn't say. Although there is a trine to Pluto, and it is being supported by Saturn and Neptune. But just know that if you happen to invest a large sum of money, you don't know which way it's going to go with Uranus involved. It can go up or it can go down. So that's just something to take note of. You can randomly come into money. You can randomly come into partners paying for you, inheritance can come from an auntie that you didn't know you had. All of that kind of random, unexpected stuff can come from Uranus in the 8th house, but it can be sudden changes, sudden loss of money, sudden loss of income, suddenly having to pay a huge tax bill. That can also be possible as well, because again, Uranus is kind of unpredictable. But mainly this is, changes to your mental health is possible as well, because like I said, the 8th house is your psychology. So it can be breakthroughs. It can be breakthroughs in therapy, and this would be a good transit to go and have therapy, because there's huge psychological breakthroughs possible, especially with the trine to Pluto in your 4th. Pluto is the planet of psychology. Go and get some therapy. Go and go and practice your psychic abilities, because there's huge potential for breakthrough with your psychic abilities with Uranus trining Pluto in your 4th house of your emotions. The water houses are our psychic houses. Pluto in the fourth house is stirring up ancestral family stuff. Uranus is here connecting that. So it could be that you're connecting to your ancestors psychically. Or it can just be that you're going through a huge transformation and it's got something to do with family, money stuff going on. But yeah, if you work with spirit or you work with divination at all, huge potential for breakthroughs here. So that's kind of exciting. But this house is dark stuff as well. So there can just be some stuff churning up. So this is why it's good to go and have therapy if you need it, because there's psychological stuff churning up. And again, it can make you feel a little bit more anxious because it's Gemini. And so I would say you are one of the signs that you need to go and do breath work. You need to do meditation. You need to work on your mental health a little bit more because of the fact that this is a sensitive water house. So let me know your thoughts on that, Scorpio. And I will see you guys in the next video. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Okay, you are having Venus move into Gemini, into your 7th house for the month of July. So this is a great transit for you guys, really. 7th house is all of our one-on-one relationships, okay? It's our romantic partnerships, it's our business partnerships, it's our conversations with another person. The 1st house is you, the 7th house is other people. So any one-on-one connections that you have are going to be positive with Venus here. So it's more like you are having more pleasant experiences when you're, you know, like I said, going to the shop, you're going to the doctors, you're connecting with astrologers, therapists, that kind of stuff. There's more pleasant experiences with other people during this transit, whether it be a child, a best friend, someone you live with, especially because Venus rules your 11th house of friendships. And your 6th house of co-workers. So getting on better with the people that you work with, getting on better with your friends, and having those one-on-one times and moments with friends is possible during this transit. If you're single, this is a really good time to go on a date because you could meet a committed partner. If you're kind of dating someone, this transit could solidify this relationship and you could become committed. Although this is Gemini, so it's a little bit more kind of shallow. It is a bit more kind of fickle. So it could be that you are deciding whether you want to be dating this person or this person. You could actually have more than one choice when it comes to love potential, shall we say. If you're in a relationship already, this is a positive transit for you and your partner. It could be that you and your partner are deciding that you want to do a different type of date night. You want to go to the cinema, you want to go to the beach, you want to do something that you've not done before, you've not done for ages, and you're just going to spice things up. You and your partner are going to want to spice things up with this transit because you can feel a bit bored and a bit kind of, things can just feel a bit mundane. So you're just going to want to kind of spice things up a bit. But it's a good general transit for just getting on better with other people and just having better conversations in a one-to-one manner. Good transit for contracts, signing contracts, especially because it's Gemini, which rules writing and contracts. So great time to sign stuff, great time to agree to things. This is a good transit for sales, making money when it comes to you and another person. So this is good for client work as well. Especially, again, it rules your 6th house of work. So those client connections and making those sales is definitely possible. And also focusing on your goals for the future with you and a partner, or if you don't have a partner, thinking about your aspirations when it comes to relationships. Maybe you want to be journaling and writing down what you want from a future partner. This would be a really good time to, you know, meditate and journal and write down, actually, this is what I want from a romantic partner. Now, you are going to have Uranus move into this sign, guys. So this is interesting, okay, because it's an angular house. So this is an important transit for all of the mutable signs. Uranus moving into your 7th house. Okay, so if you're single, this could bring a romantic partner to you. You could have some strong connections, some strong meetings, some strong connections on social media. You can have somebody come out of the blue. You can suddenly be like, okay, who's this love interest? If you're single over the next 8 years, I guarantee, unless you're like really old and genuinely don't want a partner, like my mother, for example, bless her, she's not going to be, well, she could meet someone, but she's adamant she's not going to. But if you're younger and you want to meet a partner, this is going to bring someone into your life. It can bring you unusual people. It can bring you people that you didn't see coming. It can bring you people that are a little bit eccentric. It can bring unusual people into your life. Or you can just make new friends with unusual people. So it could be that you're going to a new group and you're making acquaintances with quirky or unusual people in some way. So for example, you're going to like the spiritualist church and there you're making friends with like really spiritual people, which would be considered a little bit unusual. This is a good transit to have an astrologer because Uranus is astrology. So you may want to have an astrologer read your chart, and you're making that connection with a new astrologer who then maybe becomes part of your world, part of your social connections. Or a therapist or somebody, because of the connection to your third house. It's like doctors, therapists, you know, unexpected connections can come. Now, if you're already in a relationship, this is going to bring change to your partnerships. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to break up. Astrology transits do not break people up that are meant to be together, okay? But they do reflect what's going on down here on Earth, okay? Astrology transits reflect what's going on. So if you and your partner have been on the rocks, again, yes, this can come in and it can shake things up and you can break up. That's definitely possible. But if if you have a strong relationship, not everyone that's a Sagittarius rising is going to break up with their partner during this transit. It can be that you and your partner are going through a transformation of some kind together. Maybe you're deciding that you want to move. Maybe you're deciding that you want to change neighborhoods. Maybe you want to change countries, move countries. Maybe your partner's going through a huge change, or your partner's going through something unusual or something different in some way. Seventh house, remember, is other people. So a lot of the time when we have transits here, it's reflecting the other person in our lives. So your partner could be having a change, or they can be rebelling, or they can just be going through something unusual or unexpected in some way. So just to summarize, you are going to be experience changes with your one-on-one social connections, your one-on-one romantic connections, and business partners as well. So if you have a business partner, that could suddenly change. You could meet somebody that's going to become a business partner. And just remember that Uranus is neutral, so it's not necessarily good and it's not necessarily bad, but it does bring unexpected changes and it does shake things up. So you can't resist this. And if you're trying to resist it, then something will just happen. So the best thing to do is to think, okay, I'm in a relationship. I don't want this relationship to end. How can me and my partner spice things up or do something different so that this transit doesn't come at us in a negative way, if that makes sense? So let me know your thoughts on that, Sag, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Capricorn and Capricorn rising, you are having Venus move into Gemini, which is your 6th house of your work, your schedules, your routines, and your health. So Venus in this house is a little bit even though Venus is a positive planet, so she will be helping you out somewhat, but Venus in this house is a little bit kind of made to work. So on the one hand, this can bring more pleasant experiences at work. So it can be that you're getting on better with your colleagues, you're focusing on creative projects, you're learning new things at work. That's possible, but it can also feel that you're working more than you want to, and therefore you've got to focus on your health. Because Venus in the 6th house is about self-care. Venus rules your 10th house of career, so it does suggest that you're going to be busier during this transit. She also rules your 5th house of creativity. So it's like, what are you creating at work? You're putting your energy and your attention into creative projects at work, but you are going to be getting on better with co-workers, like I said. But you're going to be encouraged to focus on your health and focus on your self-care. Go to the spa. Do a face mask, look after yourself, because your health is going to be important during this time, especially as Uranus is about to move into your 6th house. How can you, did you just hear my doorbell ring? Sorry about that, just had to get the parcel in. So how can you focus on self-care routines? So this does look like, spending time massaging your body, spending time learning about how you can look after yourself, because Venus in Gemini is like, how can I learn about what my body needs? Venus is very tactile. Do I need to self-massage? Do I need to do skincare? Maybe I need to spend time reading something that I enjoy, and that's going to become part of your routine during this transit, and it's going to be important for your health, Capricorn, because we know that you overwork. You're going to be just really focused on your health and learning about how you can really look after yourself. This is also the house of pets, so Venus here is a pleasant transit for your pets. Venus rules relationships, so on the one hand, yes, it's good at kind of getting on better with your co-workers, but there's also an element of criticism. The 6th house it's the Virgo house. It's overthinking, it's analysing, it's criticising. So you can feel more critical of your relationships during this transit. It can be that you're overthinking, Gemini, and you're criticizing certain things, especially about your romantic relationships, because Venus rules the 5th house. Excuse me. So Venus in the 6th is encouraging you to focus on, what am I putting into my body? What am I eating? Am I eating healthily? Am I going to the gym? Am I looking after myself? And trying not to overwork. But at the same time, she is still, like I said, she is still a positive planet, so it can bring those pleasant experiences as well. But you just have to watch out for the over criticism. Now, Uranus coming into the 6th house is going to shake things up here, okay? And this is important because this is your house of health. So if you have not been looking after your health, you are going to see changes to your health, to your physical health. And it can have something to do with your mindset and how you're thinking. So for you guys, again, working on breath work, working on your mindset, focusing on the positives is going to be more important, because Uranus is going to come in and you're going to have this sudden shake-ups with your health. Unexpected things may happen. Unexpected things may come to light around your health. So make sure, if you're having niggles around things, and someone commented on one of my videos once, what the hell are niggles? A niggle is like a niggle is if you have something that's like hurting and you're ignoring it, like just a little pain. It's called a niggle in the UK. I don't know if you guys have that in the rest of the world. A niggle is something that's in the back of your mind, and it's like you just ignore it, like a little niggle. If you're having little niggles, don't ignore them. So changes to your health are possible, but also breakthroughs with your health. If you're somebody that has had struggles, or if you've had things, breakthroughs with your health are so possible here. You could be really focusing on technological advances when it comes to your health. So you're wearing wearables, you're wearing watches that track your heart rate and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe you're doing tests to see if you're allergic to things. You can do the blood test to see if you've got allergies, all of that kind of stuff. So there's these breakthroughs when it comes to your health, but involving technology, involving, forward thinking. Things like holistic health can be more relevant, because Uranus likes to think forward. It is scientific, so yes, it's medicine, but it's also, it likes to break the mold. So it likes to do things differently. So, and again, this could be a really good transit for you to be using breath work to enhance your health, because it's Gemini. Maybe learning, maybe studying more things about your health as well. You might have more of an interest in actually learning about your health and how you can improve it. There's going to be a shake-up in your routines, and you're going to have a real desire to have a shake-up in your routines. You could feel bored. You could feel stagnant. You could feel like you're so bored of your work. You're so bored of doing this, that, and the other every day. You want to break free. And Uranus in the 6th house can have some of you leaving your jobs. Uranus rules your 2nd house of income. It can be a sudden change in your income, a sudden change into how you make money, a sudden change in your schedules. For example, if you're having a baby, you might go to part-time, and therefore your schedules are going to significantly change, and so is your income. So just a change and a shake-up to your schedules and your routines. What time you're starting work, what time you're finishing work, and a desire to break free. And if you don't make a change, then Uranus will force one. So it could be that you lose your job. It could be that something unexpected happens in the workplace that you did not see coming, because Uranus will shake things up in this part of your life. So just try not to resist that, because something will happen anyway. But these things can be positive, by the way. So it can be that, yes, if you've been trying to get a job in a certain field for ages, now Uranus is coming in, you've got it. So brilliant. It's bringing shake-ups, it's bringing breakthroughs. Trining Pluto in the 2nd house. So this is positive. You're having support. You're having support from, it's like, what do you value? And there's this realization around, right, well, I definitely don't value working 50 hours a week anymore, so I'm going to cut down to 35. It's things like that. Breakthroughs. So there can also be some changes to pets. So if you have a lot of pets, just watch out. It might be that you have to go to the vets. It might be that you are spending money on more animals, or you're spending money on pets because they've got health issues. So that is something to watch out for. But it could also be that you're getting a new pet. That's definitely possible. Especially in Gemini, it's like more than one. So if you have one pet, you might think, oh, I'm going to get another one. And that can be how that manifests. So you'll have to let me know, Capricorn, what happens here. But generally for you, it's about your health, your work, and your routines, and things just having a change and just wanting to break free from the norm in those topics. So let me know your thoughts on this transit, and I will see you in the next video. Aquarius and Aquarius rising, you guys are having Venus move through your 5th house in the month of July. Venus rules over your family, and Venus also rules over your house of travel, and she's moving through your 5th house. So this is the house of creativity. It's what you're creating. It's your fun, it's your hobbies, it's your business, it's your children, it's your love life. So Venus here is really great for your love life. So if you're single, go on a date because you'll meet someone. You could go on 2 dates because it's Gemini. If you're in a relationship, you and your partner can be going on a date night. You're having more fun. It could be that you are just exploring new things. You're trying out new dates. You're trying out new things together. Maybe you're going to do like the pitch and putt thing, or the axe throwing, or different random things like that, or shuffleboard. Different games and different things that are going to pique your interest more during this transit with your romantic partner. But it's good. It's a good charming transit. It's good to feel kind of sexy and just flirty with your partner. It's a good transit for that. Flirtation, having fun with that person. And if you're single, good time to go on a date. Great transit for getting on better with children. So whether you have children, whether you work with children, you're getting on better with them. You could be traveling, or you could be learning or teaching. So actually some of you, if you're teachers, great transit for kind of teaching and sharing information with children during this time. If you have your own business, you're going to feel more creative. You're going to feel more creative. Maybe your beliefs are changing about the business that you're creating, and you're wanting to explore new ideas, and you're wanting to learn new things around your business and how you can be more creative in your field in some way. Gemini is curious. So you could be curious about, okay, well, because Venus rules your 9th house of learning. Okay, I'm going to go and take this course because I want to apply it to my business. And so you can see those themes coming up. And because Venus rules your 4th house, definitely getting on better with your family members if it's, your children and your romantic partner. Now, Uranus is going to come into this house. Sorry, I just had to have a drink. Uranus is going to come into this house and shake things up. This is a sign that trines you. So this is a friendly aspect, okay? Uranus is you're gonna desire freedom. So it can be that your love life is boring you, your sex life is boring you, and you want to shake things up with your partner. Maybe you're wanting to try different positions and different things in the bedroom. You're wanting to explore new ways of pleasuring yourselves. All of that kind of stuff can happen with Uranus in the 5th house. You're wanting to explore. If you're single, again, shake-ups in your love life. It can be that you randomly meet someone, especially if you've been single for a while. You can definitely kind of meet somebody out of the blue, maybe somebody that you weren't expecting. Uranus rules you, by the way. So this is important because it's like taking your attention to the 5th house. Excuse me. The 5th house is our creativity. So you can feel wildly creative. Uranus is a very, very creative planet. It's light bulb ideas. It's sudden flashes of insight. It's like, wow, I've got a great idea. So this is going to be really, really good for creativity. And if you are somebody that runs your own business, wow, you're going to be on fire. You're going to feel extremely creative. You're going to have all these ideas coming to you. Inventive ideas possible, because the 5th house is joy and what we create, and it's also how we express ourselves. So huge breakthroughs in terms of self-expression. Whether for some of you, whether that's you want to do a new dance class, or you want to go pole dancing, or you want to go horse riding, whatever it is, breakthroughs when it comes to having fun and what you do for fun and focusing on yourself. But also breakthroughs when it comes to your love life, shake-ups with the love life. If you're in a relationship, like I said, you're going to want to shake things up, and there can be some changes. And if you've been dating someone and it's been a bit rocky, Uranus can come in and it can kind of break that up. The 5th house is also our children. So it could be that your child is going through something challenging or erratic, or they are becoming unusual in some way. So it can be that your child suddenly is like, okay, I want to go and study Chinese in Hong Kong, and you're like, what the hell? That is so random. And it's just something completely out of the blue connected to a child. They can be going through ups and downs, and they can be going through their own changes. This is also the house of pregnancy. So just make sure that you're using protection if you don't want to get pregnant, because this can be unexpected pregnancies for sure, especially trining Pluto in your 1st house. If you've been trying for a baby, great. This could definitely bring it to you. But yeah, changes in your child's life, breakthroughs in your child's life if they've been working towards something, breakthroughs. So for you guys, it's business, creativity, children, changes happening, breakthroughs happening, creative flashes of insight, and also where you're wanting to rebel and wanting to shake things up a bit. So you're going to want to change things in your business if you have one. You're going to want to change things in your love life. You're going to want to change things when it comes to your fun and your hobbies and what you're doing and how you're expressing yourself. There's going to be change here. So let me know your thoughts on this transit. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, Pisces, we've skipped past you. Okay, so you guys are having Venus in July move through your 4th house. This is a positive transit in July, Venus in Gemini. So turning your attention inward to your 4th house. This is maybe wanting to spend more time at home, maybe focusing on creativity in the home. So you may be inclined towards making your house look nice and wanting to move things around because it's Gemini. It's like, you know, maybe you're wanting to paint this wall or change that wall or put pictures up. You know, you're focusing on creativity, Venus, within the home. Excuse me. You're focusing on intimate relationships within the home. Maybe you and your partner having more intimate experiences, or maybe there's some secrets or something going on to do with conception or your own personal psychological transformation within the home environment and within your family. Venus also rules your 3rd house of connection and ideas. So yes, new ideas when it comes to the home, conversations with family members, connecting with family members. Maybe you're speaking to your mum or your dad more, or your brother or your sister, or maybe your siblings are coming to visit you. This can definitely be siblings and relatives coming to visit with Venus ruling this house, or maybe you're traveling with a family member. That's also possible, like going on local trips, traveling, having just different interests within the home. Maybe when you're watching TV, you're watching different programs because it's Gemini. Just more conversations, more connection, and more curiosity, but it's behind the scenes. And you're maybe wanting to spend more time at home, but when you're spending it, you're reading or you're talking or you're having like, playful banter. All of that kind of stuff can be going on. And you're just focusing on your values. Maybe spending money on the home is also possible as well. Now, Uranus is going to come into this sign and it's going to bring shake-ups and change over the next 8 years. This is a longer transit. It's not necessarily going to happen straight away, but there are going to be some changes to your home environment. Uranus rules your 12th house of the subconscious. Maybe your subconscious mind is going to affect your home life in some way. Maybe there's some healing that you need to do around ancestral patterns, around family patterns, some healing that needs to take place. There can be a sudden need to want to move, a sudden need for change. The easiest way to do this is to maybe rearrange your furniture or redecorate or renovate or spend money on the home rather than moving house, unless you want to move house. For some of you, you are going to move house during this transit. But there's going to be this insatiable need to change something within the home. Uranus can just bring changes. So it can be that things break within the home, which is always annoying, but you know, sudden changes like you're having to rip the carpet up or something like that is possible. Maybe you're having children now that Jupiter's in your 5th house, and actually that's a sudden change within the home. But it can also be where you desire freedom, so you can feel a bit trapped. So it could be that your Uranus comes in and you've got this sudden desire to just be free of home life, of home life at some point. Maybe you have a secret desire to be free. Maybe whatever's going on at home, you have a secret desire to be free. There can also be some changes with your inner emotional worlds. You can feel maybe a bit emotionally unstable for some reason or another. You can feel... Again, I'm using the child thing as an example, but for example, if you were to have a baby, maybe you're feeling like you can't cope, or you're feeling like you don't really know what you're doing. There's just this kind of instability when it comes to your emotions and how you feel behind closed doors. And so whatever's happening at home can make you feel unstable emotionally. So it's going to be important, again, to make sure that you're grounding yourself, make sure that you're communicating, Gemini, with your family members about what's going on, because there's this instability in how you feel emotionally. And I don't know whether it's coming from something happening to a family member or whether it's just the changes in your home environment are making you feel emotionally a bit unstable. But if it's not that, then there's this just desire for you to be free from normal, boring home life. You just want to be a little Pisces fish and you want to swim away. So maybe things are a bit challenging and you're just wanting to run away. That's also possible. But really, this is, you know, you can, like I said, you can utilize this energy by switching things up, thinking, yeah, I want to renovate, I want to decorate, I want to change things around, and use this as a positive, and you take control of this by you being the one to think, right, okay, well, we're going to decorate the bedroom, or we're going to do this, and you're going to take control by making the changes yourself rather than them just happening to you. Okay, so that is all I have for you, Pisces. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you got some value, please give it a thumbs up, drop me a comment, let me know your thoughts on this transit, Pisces. And everyone, if you're still watching to the end of this video, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content from me. I am Georgie. Come and connect. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram as Georgie Ogden Astrology, and TikTok is Georgie Ogden 444. So if you're on those platforms, come and say hi, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.